This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. It is not intended to cause or induce breach of an existing agency agreement.
This is the Victoria Real Estate Podcast. Welcome to the Victoria Real Estate Podcast, where we talk all things real estate in and around Greater Victoria. I'm Vincent Barton. I'm part of the City Nest team at RE/MAX Camosun. Adrian McLaren and Jocelyn Sheff would normally be joining me, but they couldn't be here today, and so they send their regrets. We'll get you guys on the next episode. But today I'm joined by two returning guests from Coastal Community Credit Union, Paula Blazina and Beverly Murdock. Today we're diving into Coastal Community Credit Union's Realtor Referral Program and their cashback mortgage promotion. So some really interesting promotions. This episode I think is going to be really interesting specifically for realtors and any buyer that likes cashback. So they're going to talk to us about that. So welcome back. For those who didn't catch our last conversation, we kind of went through how you got here, how you got to Coastal Community Credit Union, and all of the different things that you've learned along the way. So maybe could you just give us a quick refresh, maybe Paula, a quick refresh of your role at the credit union and
for sure
how that looks, and we'll go to you next, Bev.
Okay, and so my name's Paula Blazina. I'm the regional manager for the Victoria area. I have 3 branches and a mighty but tiny little team of people who take care of all kinds of member business, personal, investment needs.
Cool. What about you, Bev?
Beverly Murdock. I am a mortgage manager, and I cover the full island, but my focus area is Parksville to Victoria. So I specialize with mortgages.
That's still a huge area. That's a 3-hour drive from end to end. Just a random aside. Do you think Island Rail, do you support that coming back, or do you like driving?
I like the idea of the rail.
I don't know. Maybe it's just the Facebook
so
stuff
romantic.
I don't know. There's a big push to bring it back to the islands.
I'd probably use it.
You drive a lot, so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take it for work. I'd probably do more of like exploratory.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Paula, let's just dive right into it.
Okay.
Tell us about the Realtor Referral Program and what's the big idea behind this initiative?
Well, we always had a Realtor Referral Program, but it wasn't really appealing. And so I kind of took it upon myself to just sort of spend time with realtors to talk about like what's important. If you're going to refer somebody to our credit union, what's really important to you? And every single one of them, when I shared with them what our existing program was, they were like, nah. They didn't like it. Yeah.
Okay.
No, because it was geared towards the realtor. And because of BCFSA, we can only do so much without requiring disclosure documents. And, realtors already have enough disclosure documents.
Yeah, we sure do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what came from it was do something for my client.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I think I can do that.
That's awesome. So pain points, I mean, you mentioned the paperwork. That was a pain point.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting. We assume that, that realtor, that professional wants something in their pocket, but actually by you doing an amazing job for their clients, that ends up actually being better than, the odd, trip to Hawaii or something like that.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And so what came of that, if you don't mind me
fire away
on it, pardon me, what we did was we devised a program where the client, if the realtor refers their client to us, we cover the appraisal, we cover their legal fees, we pay the first year on a premium credit card, which is usually about $120 a year.
Yeah, like with travel points and all that.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then we also provide them free banking. And one of the things that we encounter...
For a year, right? Free banking for a year?
Yeah. One of the things that we came across was there's a lot of individuals, they don't have a will. You're making
so
the
true.
biggest purchase in your life, and you don't have a will. So we also put $300 towards a will package.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, lots of people have taken up on it, which is great. And, there's also the whole premise around like when a realtor's clients come in, like we wrap our arms around them and we really walk them through the process and we do it as quickly as we can. And it's usually incumbent on the client getting us their documents.
Mm-hmm.
And income is always the one thing that we need to like suss out first and we don't even have to have a property. We can get them pre-approved. But what it does is because the realtors referred them to us, they're eligible for this particular product, it's brilliant. I created it and it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's your baby.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, from the homebuyer's perspective, they get all of these amazing perks and advantages, but how does that work for a realtor that's listening to this?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just as simple as they hand their client Beverly's card,
Mm-hmm.
or is it they have to know a secret handshake to get in the front door? Like,
it
how
is
does
not
that
a
work?
secret squirrel club. No, what we like to have happen is that the realtor will email us with an introduction of their client.
Okay.
And we typically email, in that email chain will be all my managers and myself. And
Wow.
the whole point of that is to make sure, like, if somebody's called in sick, or if I called in sick, if you're emailing me only and I'm not there, or if I'm facilitating training somewhere else, I may not be able to pick up that. So by doing our email group to our managers, one of us is going to pick it up.
That's great.
And we're going to assign it. And as long as we've received like a form of contact with that client, so phone number and email, that starts the clock and we'll start taking care of them.
Nice. I love that. In the real estate sales side, we call it speed to lead.
Mm-hmm.
And we know when someone signs up online on a website, they've got a question. Now, in that case, there's no commitment device. It's just, they've just given us their phone number. So our goal is, can we call them as quickly as humanly possible?
Yeah.
Get into rapport, be assessing what they need. And so it sounds like, although it's a warm referral that's coming to your office, speed to lead is still really important.
It is. It really is. And, especially in today's market, like stuff goes on the market and comes off the market really quick. So we do our very best to try and get someone a pre-approval within 48 hours.
Wow. Okay.
But that's incumbent on them getting us income.
There's fine print. Yeah.
There is a little side codicil to that. And the thing is income is the one thing that we almost always, that can either kick an application out or make it move forward. And if we have income, we can prove your income and we have the assurance of knowing that they can afford this. All the other stuff like appraisals and MLS listings and some of the other details, we can collect that down the road.
Right.
But at least if we can get your income in play, and well, of course, we need your consent to pull your credit bureau.
Sure. Yeah.
It makes the shorter turnarounds, like shorter subject removals, a lot more manageable and less stress if we've got them pre-approved ahead of time. Having said that, we can also take on a last minute, if they weren't approved at a bank or wherever else, or they just didn't have their stuff organized and they found the home of their dreams. We can obviously still take something and do it all at once. It's just obviously nicer for everyone if we do it in two parts.
Yeah. Oh, of course. And we say the same with our clients. Like it's so frustrating to go out shopping for real estate when you have no idea what your budget is.
Yeah.
So you fall in love with a home and you think, well, maybe if I sell a kidney, I can pull this off. And then you realize you can't sell kidneys. So you're heartbroken when you realize, oh yeah, actually that house I fell in love with it's never going to happen, at least, with my current career. So,
but on the other side, I've had people think that they don't have a chance or that they can only qualify for XYZ. And then, we get our bag of tricks out and whoa, look at this, maybe there's a suite in there. We can use that income, etc. All the other things. And wow, they actually can get the house that they actually wanted and not just that they have to buy.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, aside from then just getting the prospective buyer over to your team as soon as humanly possible, are there any kind of tools, resources, training for the realtors to be aware of? Or is it really just the minute you have a buyer who is ready to get out there and start shopping for homes, send them over. Is it that kind of the bare bones of it?
I feel like it's important to for the realtor to know like what's your price point.
Right. Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So the sooner we get them in our wings and under our wings, we can actually start making things happen so that they can have the confidence to go out and shop. I did miss one other thing is that they'll also, if we close on a realtor referral mortgage, they'll also get an opportunity to have a quote for their house insurance through our insurance division.
Okay, nice.
And then once they close on their insurance, they'll get a gift card from that particular insurance office as well. Usually it's $25, but hey, you never know. You might need a new, I don't know, a new hand soap dispenser from Winners or something, right? So
batteries for a smoke detector. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so we're kind of talking very high level, kind of abstract. Do you have a specific example of a person who, Bev, I love what you were saying earlier. Some people think, oh, there's no way I could ever qualify for that. So do you have a story or a specific scenario, without naming names, of someone who was, essentially saved by this opportunity or given a new shot at hope for buying a home as a result of going through this program?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah.
Do you?
No, go for it.
Okay. Do you have one?
Well, I'm thinking of a pre-approval I have active right now, and she thought that she couldn't. It was the same. That's what made me think of to say what I just said is that she thought because she had only been working for where she's working for such a short time that she was going to have to wait a year. And I found some ways to make it happen, and like Suite was one of them. Things like child support and whatnot, we can use that. And I got her pre-approval out and she was very, very happy.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Paula, what was
yours? What do you got?
Oh, well, we had a couple that was coming over from Vancouver and they were looking for just a change in their lifestyle. But they'd also heard that the Victoria market was kind of the same as Vancouver, like it's a hard market. But they didn't think they wanted to keep their condo over in Vancouver because it was near and dear to them. It was their starter home and they wanted to keep it. And they felt that it would be a good legacy. And they didn't think that they'd be able to qualify for both of them. And we actually made it work, which was kind of cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. Yeah. So, we've kind of talked a little bit about the program. It's not really much to get started. Really, it's send an email to you. That's it.
I'm sure that if they forgot to, didn't know our email, they could just call and ask for us and do it that way. And then we would direct them, okay, email.
And I'll say, my own experience of Coastal Community Credit Union, it's, you think, oh, okay, I'm going to call a financial institution. Here we go. Do I have all morning and a nice cup of coffee while I wait? You guys are like so fast on the phones.
Yeah.
Whenever I've had questions about accounts, any kind of issue, you guys are just, you're on it. So it's really for the people listening saying, oh yeah, great. Call a financial institution. This will be boring. It's not. It really, you guys are fantastic local customer service. So that's been really great. So that's kind of it. That's the beginning and the end of the program is send your clients to Coastal Community Credit Union and they'll take care of it from there.
And just as a soft note on this one, like I've presented this program to other realtor offices and firms. So like I have a full PowerPoint and I'll probably bring donuts. But if you want me to come and present and so that it can help create a little bit of different understanding and really an appreciation for what we can do for your client, they can reach out to me. I'd be happy to come and present. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So any managing brokers out there listening, if you want some donuts and you want to keep some content interesting at your sales meetings, Paula's the one to call.
You bet.
Awesome. Well, let's jump into the second segment here. We're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about the cashback program. So, Beverly, can you walk us through that program? And I don't know, cashback, it sounds a bit too good to be true.
Yeah. So there are some criteria So it has to be like a new mortgage or bringing business over from another financial institution. So that's like still new money for us. So it can't be a refinance. But I mean, anything coming from a realtor is going to likely be new business.
Could you refinance? Like, let's say I had maybe I'm using the wrong terminology here, but let's say I had a I don't know, mortgage with a green colored bank and I wanted to refinance and switch lenders. I could come, and that would count as new business for you guys.
So it's because it's new business. Yeah. So up to $3,000 cash back.
Nice.
And it has to be at least 3-year fixed term. So yeah, no less than 3 years.
Okay.
It's a tiered. The cashback is tiered. So minimum mortgage of $150,000. So most
shouldn't be
most
a problem.
are going to be, yeah. And let's see. It's still subject, obviously, to all of our lending criteria. You have to be 19 years old. The mortgage has to fund within 120 days of the application. I'm just going to interrupt there. Most mortgages have to fund within 120 days of the application for a rate guarantee.
Hold.
Yeah. So that's not really anything too crazy, right?
No, it's not.
So, and I should say, just to protect that, you know, it's only guaranteed right now, this particular program, until June 30th, but I suspect that it's going to renew. Like, definitely reach out after that date. It's probably going to keep going, but we just, there is a that sort of timeline at the moment, but, but I don't expect that it actually will go away. We've had a lot of good success with this program so far. It hasn't been around for that long. Would you say about 6 to 8 months?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a newer promotion that we have right now.
And I mean, if we created a mortgage for somebody and they're still shopping in May and they don't find it in June, maybe they find it in July, it's still applicable.
Okay. Got it.
Even if the credit union said, okay, June 1st, we're going to drop it. If you're already in the system, they'll honor that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And really, like I said, it's unlikely that we're actually going to just make it go away after June 30th. But that's just kind of like the soft date right now.
Okay.
But I'm sure.
Okay. And then just to help me understand, so cash back, let's say I'm a first-time buyer. I have CMHC, so I have less than 20% down, and I'm trying to get into my first condo. I found a great place over by Mayfair Mall. There's a great listing out there if you're a first-time buyer, $350,000 for a one-bedroom condo. I thought it was a really good deal. Anyways,
and go to 30 years amortization.
Go 30, yeah, sure, yeah. So you then say, okay, well, I'd like cash back. Is the cash amount added to the debt that I owe? It's just money that I'm getting up front?
No, so it funds into their Coastal Community Credit Union account when the mortgage funds within 5 business days, I think it is, but usually it's the same day it funds. And that money just goes into their account so they can do whatever they want with it. They can buy furniture, they can pay themselves back for some of those closing costs, So
you guys are already covering a ton of those closing costs as well. So that's kind of handy.
We're covering them under the Realtor Program.
Yes. Can those double up together?
No.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
You have to choose one or the other. And the thing is like, it depends. Some clients of yours, they may benefit more on the cash back versus the other.
Okay.
So it's and 9 times out of 10, what we do is we kind of do the math ahead of time for the member to let them know, like, this is the best option for you. That's given your circumstance.
So you can choose. You have the application in. You say, okay, I'm trying to buy this amazing condo near Mayfair Mall for $350,000, one bedroom. Check it out on MLS. And you guys would say, well, based on the mortgage loan that you need, you're probably going to get a more bang for your buck from the referral program than you would from the cashback program. And so then someone can make that decision. It's not like, oh, sorry, your realtor introduced us, so you can't do cash back.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah.
Great.
And just as a hint, the higher mortgages are probably going to lean towards wanting the cash back.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. The smaller the mortgage, you're probably going to want to go with the Realtor Referral.
Nice.
And the minimum on that is only $150,000
as well.
For
so
a mortgage.
Again, probably not an issue.
Yeah. That's great. Okay. And then how about any common misconceptions about cashback mortgages and how they work? Maybe, I even when I was asking that last question, I was kind of assuming, well, do I just owe that money now at the end of the term? How does that work? So any other misconceptions?
I would say, I think, like, it's to a maximum of $3,000.
Yes.
And that's kind of synonymous throughout the industry. It's not $3,000. So it's
Right.
based typically on a tiered platform. So that's where I think that's a bit of a myth, because people are like, hey, I was expecting $3,000 and I got like $1,200.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so to help people maybe contain, I don't know if you know the numbers off the top of your head, but let's say I go in with that bare minimum mortgage. I've got $150,000 mortgage on a tent in a tree somewhere. What would that cashback amount look like?
So I do have the numbers in
Amazing.
front of me. They did switch it favorably
Nice.
already once. So these aren't guaranteed to stay exactly the same. But I do have the numbers. So $500 cash back for mortgages between $150 and $249,999. $1,500. No, $249 to $449 is $1,000. $1,500 for mortgages between $450 and $749.9, and then $2,500 for mortgages between $750 and $999. $3,000 for mortgages of $1 million and up.
Nice. Okay, so I think the average person, it sounds like, is going to be in that $2,500 if they're buying the average home in Victoria with the average down payment, etc. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
That's that's better than an iPad, which is what some other financial institutions will offer.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
And
great.
then you can spend it on whatever you like. You can buy an iPad and other things
Get 2 iPads.
A new couch.
Yeah, exactly.
I love
Nice.
new couches.
for your new house.
Yeah. So let's flip to sort of a broader perspective. We've talked about the Realtor Referral Program. We've talked about the Cashback Program, and those are kind of the two of the competitive advantages of working with the credit union. From your perspective, kind of zooming out, what are local buyers' needs? Like, how are they changing this year? What are you seeing in the applications that are coming across your desk, the conversations you're having with your members? How is that changing this year, specifically on Vancouver Island?
Well, I'll start. I think one of the things is it's because we're up and down the island, every community is experiencing different things. And so when we look at someone in a community that is like maybe pulp mill heavy, and there's lots of contention at the pulp mill, and there could be a
Port Alberni.
Yeah. I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah.
But, we take that into consideration. And that creates a lot of stress for consumers
Oh, yeah.
who live in those districts or whatever. So as an organization, we really pay attention to those things.
Yeah.
Like all individuals, like if you're on strike, you can't really apply for a mortgage. And a good example was during the mail strike.
Yeah.
Right. So we had people who had come in and qualified and then went on strike, kept shopping, found a place, and it was like, oh, this isn't going to help. Now, we worked with them to create some really unique ways of making it happen, and included things like they leaned into parents and family to support, to beef up, to just make it happen. And then once they were all back to work, we were like, okay, well, let's rejig this so it works. So, I think the climate out there, I think a lot of people are anxious. They're not really sure we've got an election coming. So
that's what I was going to say. That was my answer.
I think
for this year specific.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are kind of anxious. Edgy.
Yeah.
The uncertainty.
That makes sense.
Is not an elephant in the room. It's been talked about it's being talked about every day, all the time.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about it when we were driving here.
There you go. I have 2 counterpoints to that. Now, with the caveat that realtors are professional optimists, realtors that are pessimists, it's not as much fun. So if you're optimistic, we know that usually in an election year, rates go down, usually. So that's a good sign for this year, at least in the next month, because there's an election in like a month.
Yeah.
But then the other thing is, as Vancouver Island has always been, the most mild climate in Canada. As snowbirding south becomes less and less attractive for Canadians, because for reference, we have millions of Canadians that go from the prairies down to Florida, Arizona, California, etc. every year, and they spend billions of dollars down there. All of those people are now they're second guessing. They're saying, do we really want to do this year?
Boycotting the States, they're going to come here.
Exactly.
And then they're going to fall in love with it.
Exactly.
And then they're going to buy houses.
Yeah. So, I say Vancouver Island is one of the most stable democracies for an island in the Pacific that you can
Yeah.
get.
Thank you for bringing that up. And it was the same thing with COVID. Everyone was working from home, and then their at home jobs became permanent, and then they all started buying here because they could
Exactly.
keep their jobs
Exactly.
there, and their housing is less expensive here. And
I think Victoria
wonderful.
is very cool though, because Victoria is this federal government hub. There's a provincial government hub,
Mm-hmm.
13 districts, which means you have like 13 fire halls, and well, we don't
Until we amalgamate, it'll happen.
But like, and then you look at like policing and
Yeah.
hospitals and universities.
Mhm.
I've always found that Victoria is almost a little insulated from some of the,
Oh yeah.
some of the market trends that occur elsewhere,
it's a
because
micro.
it's a little
yeah.
micro economy
Yeah.
all on
Yes.
its own.
Yeah.
And so when you look at like when you drive over the Malahat, things sometimes look a little bit different, right?
So true. Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like it's living here, working here, playing here, and being able to be a part of this community. It's exciting.
Oh yeah.
But it leaves people with a big question mark, like what's going to happen,
Mhm.
right?
No, it's true. But I think
Optimistic.
big picture, long-term, professional optimist over here. There's also the stat that was thrown around. I think over 30% of the homes in Victoria don't have a mortgage on them. So the amount of cash that's just chilling on southern Vancouver Island is crazy. You do not see that in other markets in Canada. You don't see it in other markets in the world, frankly. To have this amount of wealth, they paid off their mortgage back in 1983, and they're just sitting. And
So come see us and talk about investing.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it totally makes sense. But so I'm very bullish on the future of real estate in southern Vancouver.
It's
Island anyways.
refreshing.
It's nice to hear some optimism.
Yeah.
I like to hear it because, it's nice.
No, it's
hear.
true. And there are individual things, small-time landlords, they're getting squeezed like crazy right now by, declining rents in the core. But there are some great opportunities further up island. So I know it means more driving for your Victoria-based realtors to be out showing condos up island, but some of the best deals that I've personally ever purchased have been north of the Malahat.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth, there's that, when everyone else is fearful, be greedy. When others are greedy, be fearful. There's that old saying. And I really think it applies now more than ever. When everyone around you is panicking, now's the time to be saying, okay, how can I, leverage this and make the most of it. So,
And this program is available up and down the island.
Brilliant.
It's not just Victoria. We know that there's a tremendous number of realtors here in Victoria, but we know that that's not all that's on the island. So, and because we have 24 branches up and down the island, tip to tip, coast to coast. If we've got a Nanaimo realtor, hello.
Yeah.
If we got a Nanaimo realtor listening, then, this is an option for them to use at one of our any 5 branches in our Nanaimo region, right?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's great.
yeah.
And speaking of, you made me think of something else, Vincent, when you just said, when everybody's, what kind of opportunities can you get when everybody else is panicking? For us as a credit union, I feel like there is, like, more and more people are really wanting to shop local.
Oh yeah.
And because we're the local of banking, I have gotten some phone calls strictly because of what's happening, down south and everything.
Absolutely.
Where people are like, we want to actually put our business into the local community. So that's kind of, an opportunity for us right now.
Yeah. Buying local was always kind of a nice perk, and now it's actually a reason for switching.
Absolutely.
And I think so. Yeah, you guys are really, really well positioned. Is there anything else that's kind of exciting on the horizon at Coastal Community Credit Union? Anything that we should be keeping an eye out for, aside from these awesome
I was going to say this podcast.
Anything else out there? Are you seeing, something, I don't know, new innovations, anything exciting and new in the world of CCCU?
Innovation wise, no, but like we're our beloved CEO is actually retiring in June. So we're actually, as an organization, we're hunting for a new leader, which is kind of cool.
Exciting.
Yeah.
So if you want to be the CEO,
anyone out there, if you're tired of schlepping houses.
But, like that kind of, Adrian Legan, who is our CEO, he's really done an amazing job.
driving the bus,
driving the bus and, keeping it between the lanes and helping us be an organization that's thriving. And so we're really looking forward to trusting our board to make a really good decision on who our next piece of leadership is going to be. And they got big shoes to fill because Adrian's such a great leader.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's, I mean, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
You guys are in a really great spot, and you're looking forward to getting into even better spots. So yeah, it's exciting. So final thoughts. What would you love to be seeing more of from realtors when working together? Aside from people getting all their pay stubs in on time. I keep hearing that. The first time we chatted, every time we chat, it's like
I would love realtors to come in and visit us in our offices.
Okay.
Because our spaces are not traditional by any stretch.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want them to get a sense of the environment, and so that they can see how we wrap our arms around these new clients and members, because it's designed to be, let's sit down, have a coffee, and talk about what you really want.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And if they see and meet the team and get a sense of the individuals, we want them to connect with individuals, especially some of our individual lenders who are spectacular, including Bev. But what we want them to do is we want them to come in, have some like whites of the eye contact, so that it puts a face to our name, so that they remember us.
Yeah.
And for me, just think of us. Like a lot of times people seem to be programmed to go strictly to brokers, but we've got some advantages. Like, again, like we don't have to stress test the 5-year fixed closed conventional product.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
We can do really wonderful things with rental offsets and corporations, like corporate cash flow stuff. We're provincially regulated, not federally. So there's just some creative things that we can do that we have an advantage of. So before just going straight to only, one option, think of us and give us a call, and it's worth a crack at, like, getting it pre-approved by maybe 2 people and seeing what you can do, what can get you more house, and just give us a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you want, get a second opinion? Of course. That makes sense. Okay. So bonus round, speed round question, quick fire question. What's one myth about mortgages that you wish would disappear forever?
People think that, no, I guess this doesn't really affect my day-to-day, but sometimes people worry that after, say, their 5-year fixed term is finished, they panic and they think they're going to have to requalify all over again. But they don't need to. Once you're in, except for if you're wanting new money. So I just tell them, like, make sure you pay your payments, and then you're not going to, there's no worries. So people get really stressed out if something's happened in their lives in the last 5 years, or they've, something with their income has changed, or they get nervous that their term is coming up for renewal. So
once you have a lender that has approved you, they've advanced the funds, and you've been paying your payments, they cannot bug you unless you miss a payment, unless you start to be a bad client. If you're a bad client, then that's a different story. But they have to offer renewal terms.
Yeah.
And so in my own personal life, I went from being employed to being self-employed. And I remember being so nervous when I got that renewal letter. I'm like, that's it. The jig is up. I'm going to be homeless.
Taken repo. No, that's the last thing that
they didn't ask for anything. So I think
sign here.
That's a great myth. And I think that's a good one to clarify. Next one. If Coastal Community Credit Union's home buying experience had a slogan, right on the spot, your marketing team's going to hate you. What
they
would the
are
slogan
going
be?
to hate me. I would say, let us help you buy the home of your dreams, or they're going to
we got you.
Yeah, we got you.
That's for like the millennials or
Sorry,
Gen Z,
Gen Z.
Or maybe let us help you buy your forever home.
Nice. Realtors don't love that one as much.
No, of course not.
Yeah, forever home.
I love the stat that the average homeowner moves every 5 to 7 years.
That is so not me.
I know,
I've been in
crazy.
the same house for 15 years.
So I mean, hey, we want you to be happy where you are, but if you want to move,
something that encompasses the fact that we are just genuinely are here to help. We know the local markets, so marketing team, whip us up another slogan.
Can I just give you one small scenario?
Sure.
Okay. So let's say you have a house that you've listed and some
Mhm.
people have come in and they're like, ooh, we love it. And your sellers are all excited.
Mm-hmm.
But the couple goes to another FI, maybe the green one you were talking about.
Okay. Yeah, could be.
And so they go to the green bank and they're like, oh, they're applying a stress test on a 5-year fixed and it doesn't work. You need to poke that
Yeah.
that buyer's realtor and say, send your clients to the credit union because it could be that stress test that's preventing them from getting it.
Yeah. Well, especially if it's close, because
Yeah.
that skipping that stress test, we were chatting, I think for the average family, it would probably increase your affordability by 20%.
Yeah.
Ish.
There's
a lot of fine print there.
There's a lot of fine print. It's probably 15 to
Sure.
17%, or it could be up to 20%. But like the thing is it means that your client winds up happy, you wind up happy, the buyers are happy because they actually get the house they want.
Exactly. Yeah.
So like the stress test is, it's the difference between buying the home you want or the home that you can just afford.
Totally. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. All right. So landing the plane, how can our listeners get in touch with you at the credit union?
Okay. Well, they can call me at 250-216-6154. Or they can go to our website and they'll probably find me through there. But our relationship center is 1-888-741-1010. And if you call there, they will track me down.
Well, and they'll answer.
And they'll Teams me and they'll be like, I have so-and-so on the call for you.
Wow.
And they'll transfer the call
That's
directly
great.
to me. Yeah.
And if you're looking for a mortgage, you can come directly to me if you like. 250-268-3194 or beverly.murdock@cccu.ca. And I don't have to spell it because it'll be in the show notes.
That's right.
Yeah, mine will be in the show notes too.
Yeah. Take a look at the show notes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for today's episode of the Victoria Real Estate Podcast. A big thank you to Paula and Beverly from Coastal Community Credit Union for joining us and for sharing their insights on how credit unions are working alongside realtors to support local buyers. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review. Please, actually, leave us a review. Go on Spotify right now, leave us a review. We really appreciate it. And share it with someone in your network. For more updates and local real estate insights, follow the Victoria Real Estate Podcast on Instagram or just check out our website at citynest.ca. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.